Hello, everyone. My name is JD Calderon, and this is Indie Comics Explained. And this week we have something special going on. We're talking to a retailer with my partner here. Marvin, please introduce yourself.
Hi, Marvin Wynn, writer of The Edge from Comicsburg, and you were pointing in the wrong direction again.
Really?
I'm on the other side. I'm on this side.
You're on that side?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know. On my end, it's that way. All right. Without further ado, we have a fine guest, Mr. Dan Wallace. How are you, Dan?
I'm doing well. Good to meet you guys in person.
Good to meet you too, Dan. Sorry for the hold up and the screw up. I'm usually a little bit better at this. So pleasure to meet you, Dan. Please tell us about yourself. Where do you hail from? Where's your store?
Store's Impulse Creations. We're in Tulsa, Oklahoma. This is, I guess, about our 27th year. We've been in business, so been around a little bit of time, and things are just keep going right along. I've been enjoying. I've been a comics fan my entire life, so running a comic store is kind of a passion project for me.
All right, cool. All right. Well, Marvin, if you want, you can start.
Oh, I get to start this time?
Go ahead.
That's new. It's always like 6 of your questions and one of mine.
I figure I'll let you ask yours first, then I'll go into the 6.
So Dan. So now that we are outside of the realm of Diamond, and there's a bunch of new players coming into the pool. You've got Universal and IPG. What are you thinking about the landscape for 2026?
It's definitely interesting. It's something that I'm not really that concerned about on my level because we've been working with a lot of publishers directly and smaller distributors and everything for quite a while. So having to branch out in other directions is really nothing new. It's really kind of more a matter of just seeing where things shake out, who's going to end up where, what can we source from what supplier and everything, and hopefully being able to carry the wide selection of comics that we always have without interruption. And that's one thing. I can say a lot of negative things about Diamond, but one thing I think is positive is it carry a lot of stuff that currently in some cases isn't available elsewhere yet. That's getting better, and hopefully it continues to do so.
All right, cool. So Dan, I was curious, like, obviously I've never been to your store, unfortunately, but I was curious, like, what percentage would you say of your fan base that's attending your shop buys independent comics?
It's hard to really say what the percentage is. I feel like it is probably a higher percentage than average, just based on a combination of factors of we're right next door to an indoor trampoline center. So we get a lot of families and wide variety of people. It's not just a matter of we've got our regular core customers that come in every week on Wednesday picking up books, and that's it. I mean, there's new faces every single day, and I think the more new faces, the more of a wider audience you're dealing with, the more you're going to have people that are interested in a wider variety of comics instead of just the hardcore Marvel and DC. Do we sell more Marvel and DC than anything else? Yes, of course we do. But we do carry a wide variety, and that wide variety does sell very well for us. I'm not sure that I could really put a good number on what that percentage is. But I would say if at an average store, 5% are buying independent comics, we're probably 15%. Nice. Something like that.
All right, cool. Yeah, I forget her name. Who's the lady who runs Lunar?
Maybe it's Merkler. Drawing a blank on her first name. Her last name is Merkler.
Yeah.
Christina Merkler.
Yeah, I saw an interview with her just recently, a few days ago. And she was saying how things are looking up, which is good, right? I mean, and I was just wondering, I mean, like, obviously, the things DC is doing. She's saying Marvel, not so much, but a lot of stuff coming out of DC. I guess the Transformers stuff has been really pushing the market. This Dan Snyder, or is it? Yeah,
Scott Snyder.
Scott Snyder, yeah, Scott Snyder.
Yeah, had him out for a couple months ago.
Yeah, the Batman that he's doing seems to be pushing things along. So, I mean, do you see that sort of thing having a wider impact on the market? Like, do things seem to be opening up a little bit more because of that?
I believe it is. It's it's one of those things where anything that really draws attention to comics in general, I think is going to help everybody in the comics industry, to varying degrees. But I think it definitely does help just having a higher profile to comics, no matter what's driving that. I think is definitely a benefit. There's going to be always the tons of people that come in here looking for one thing, might be absolute Batman, and while they're there, they're going to say that looks cool too, and that looks cool too, and they're going to pick that up. They're going to try it. Hopefully, they're going to like some of what they try, and they're going to be back for the next issue and the next issue. So I think it definitely does have that effect on the market.
All right, cool. Marvin.
Oh, we're going to go again. So one of the things that whenever I talk to retailers, whether it be like here or at conventions, how do you handle if someone drops like a mainstream book? Say that someone was reading X-Men and they stopped liking it. Do you recommend a similar indie book to them, or do you recommend another Marvel DC book?
When we have the opportunity to have that conversation, we really look at what kind of books the customers are interested in. And it's less important about have they been getting a lot of Marvel, have they been getting a lot of DC, have they got a lot of indie. It's more about what exactly are the books they've been reading, who are the creators that are on those books, what is the genre of those books. And that's the kind of thing that we would be looking at in terms of recommendation. We are very heavily focused on our online pre-order and subscription system. So unfortunately, there's a lot of cases somebody might drop a book. We don't have that direct face-to-face contact with them and say, oh, you want to drop this? How come? Why are you not interested anymore? Maybe you'd like this one. So we don't always have the opportunity to have that discussion with them. But when we do, that's what I really look at. If all they've been buying is Spider-Man, there's not a whole lot of room to really say, maybe you should try this other thing over here. But that's rare. There's not many people that are literally only following one character or a very, very narrow thing. There's a few, some people that literally only get one book, and if they drop it, we kind of no longer have them as a customer. But usually there's something else to look at that we can recommend them, and that's going to vary depending on what their tastes are.
Yeah. So you mentioned your online store. So what percentage of your sales do you feel that are on? Are these online that you're mailing to people, or are they coming into the shop and picking them up?
It's both. We push that very heavily. Our entire subscription push system is based online, and that applies to both customers who are all around the world as well as the ones that are right here in Tulsa and pick up. So because of that, I'd say about 80% of our local customers are still ordering online and then just picking up in store. Sometimes they pick up other things when they come in, but the bulk of their purchase is being run online, which always makes it difficult when somebody asks me in an interview of how much is online versus local. So much of the local is online that it's really, really tough to separate.
So that was a move for you in 2020 for COVID.
Certainly, definitely helped with that. I mean, we barely had any interruption at all because of that. We had some little hiccups to deal with as far as how to get those books to the local customers during shutdowns and things like that. And obviously, the distribution system broke there for a little while. But in terms of just actual sales volume, it really didn't affect us much at all.
That's awesome.
All right, cool. I was wondering, as a retailer, what are your preferences when it comes down to indie comics? Would you prefer your standard comic book or a trade, or maybe even a format in between those two?
I think the market, and at least our customers specifically, are really still geared more towards the periodical, the comic format. We are seeing that shift a bit. There are more people getting trades, in particular some of the independent trades, as opposed to just waiting to get the collected edition. Some of the direct trade ones, that is definitely picking up for us. Some of the books from like TKO that does direct trades, things like that. Those have been picking up for us. I kind of think that the future of the industry is probably more in the graphic novel area, especially as cover prices of comics continue to go up. At some point, there's kind of that, I don't want to spend $5.99, $6.99, $7.99 for a comic. I can get a trade for, at that point, it might be $29.99 or $35.99, but I think they feel a bit more comfortable with that, especially getting a complete story. I don't think we're quite there yet. It's still more comic driven, and I don't know when it will shift. But I do think that is a likely shift to have happen.
So do you feel like digital single books and then a trade is something that can help people, or do you think that it could be a hindrance somewhat, or should it just go?
I mean, obviously, as a retailer, not in digital because we're not selling
Right.
the digital, so there's that. I don't know what result that is likely to have for the trades. There's obviously a very different market. There's the people who want digital and the people that want a physical copy, and those people who want a physical copy, how many of them are going to wait for a trade and not have the option for a physical monthly copy while the digital is out there? Or are they going to shift over to digital and then they don't want the collected edition because they've already got the digital? I think there's too many factors involved in that for me to really make a prediction about what's going to help what. Do I think the digital helps the industry to some extent? I think it probably does. I think there's some people who get digital that wouldn't get comics otherwise, and at some point down the line may switch to physical. What percentage that is, I don't know. It's probably very, very low, but there probably is some of that.
Okay.
All right, cool. Now, Dan, so being an independent comic book publisher, like, what would myself or similar publishers have to do to try to get ourselves into your store? Like, how would you feel is best to approach you, or any retailer for that matter, best to approach you to maybe get our product into your shop?
I mean, the bottom line really has to just be, I look at the book and go, are our customers going to like this? And obviously, we do have, like I was already mentioned, a wide variety of customers. So there's no shoebox, pigeonhole kind of a thing where I say it has to fit within this very narrow parameter. Otherwise, we don't have a market for that. We probably have some degree of a market for virtually any book out there. But there is certain factor involved in volume of, if we can only sell one copy, is it really worth bringing that in and having the shipping costs? And what if we don't sell one copy and so on? But bottom line, quality sells. If it is a well-written, well-drawn story, we can probably find customers for it. How many customers we have really has a lot to do with the promotion that gets behind it. There's only so much we can do on our end. We do promote all books, including indie books, especially if there's something that I personally am interested in. I'm going to push it more heavily because of that. So there's a lot of factors that can go to our end, but still, the 500 or so new comics every month, we can't promote each and every one of them. So we do have to pick and choose. And bandwidth can we devote to a book that even with extra promotion, we're going to sell 3 copies versus with extra promotion, we can sell 100 copies. We do have to weigh that. And that does make it difficult when it comes to indies, but I love indies. I'm glad indies are out there. I want to support them. So in terms of trying to sell them to me, to sell to our customers, it's show me that you have a good product. Tell me what's great about it. Show me how it's going to appeal to customers. Which customers is it going to appeal to? Just basically help make that jump from me to the customers. I can put myself in their shoes and go, yeah, they're going to buy this.
So how do you prefer your communication? Like, do you want people to call into the store, send like a introductory email with like a PDF of the book?
PDFs are definitely great. Everything digital is really the best for us because we have an online support system, and that's really the best way to go through. Some stuff like that is probably going to get directed to myself. Some things may go to the store manager, things like that. There's several other people who may want to look at it as well. And because I don't make the decisions entirely alone, basically, I've got the kind of books that I like, and unfortunately, we have other staff that like different things. And it's better to get multiple sets of eyes on something and kind of be able to get a consensus as to what we can do with it. So that's definitely the best way to reach out to us, is always online.
Cool.
All right, cool. Do you feel that I've seen it for other publishers, even small ones, where they offer signed books through some of the distributors?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that makes a difference? Does that make a difference at all for some of the fans?
I think it definitely does. It really kind of depends on how that's marketed and everything. If
Mhm.
there's not an additional cost for it, which, depending on the publisher, sometimes that's easy to do. If the creators are local, harder to do when you're working with people all around the country, and you got to ship the books to them, and then sign it, ship them back, ship them to the distributor, ship them to the store, all of that. But if it's possible to do it without an extra cost, or if the cost is built in some way of, like, say, you buy 10 copies and you get them all signed, or buy 10 copies and get 5 of them signed, or something like that,
Mhm.
then I think that's something we can do. Because with an indie book, it's probably not going to increase the value, in the sense that we can charge more for it based on being signed, but we can
Mhm.
hopefully sell more copies at cover price because of having the signature on there.
All right, cool. Marvin, you got something?
So, where are you at with crowdfunding? If there's a retailer tier on a crowdfund, are you interested in backing it? Do you like send your customers to something if you see something on crowdfunding that you like, do you send your customers over there to check it out also?
For the most part, we really haven't gotten involved with any crowdfunding projects. It's just one of those things where we've only got so much bandwidth in order to be able to do our ordering process, and having to tie a lot of that up in backing something, hoping that it gets funded when it comes
Mhm.
to eventually somewhere down the line, the book comes out and everything. It's just kind of something that hasn't really been something that I can justify spending the time on, compared to simply a book's out there, it's been solicited, we order it, and it comes in a few weeks. There's nothing against crowdfunding. I think that it's extremely valuable, and there's some comics out there that wouldn't exist without crowdfunding. It just hasn't really been a good fit for us, at least yet. Maybe that will change as the whole distribution landscape continues to change, and there's some books that are actually have made a name for themselves, and they're like big hits on the crowdfunding circuit, but they're not available through a distributor. If basically we feel like there is a strong market for something, we'll get it from whatever source we need to get it from, including crowdfunding, but just haven't gotten into it so far.
Okay.
All right, cool. When you're purchasing indie comics, do you prefer buying it from, let's say, directly from the publisher, like, from the small presser, or would you prefer, like, let's say, through either Lunar or whatever distributor system you're using?
Volume is really the biggest factor on that. That part is a bit different compared to the crowdfunding, where if it's available direct from the publisher, it's still a fairly one-step process of, you guys have the book, we place an order, you ship it to us, which is really no
Mhm.
different than going through the distributor. It's just an additional source, like having one additional distributor.
Mhm.
So that I'm perfectly fine with. But on both ends, if it's a small quantity, obviously it's difficult. If I can get it from a distributor for 50% off and free shipping or something close to that, it's a publisher can't do that if I'm ordering one copy. That's just not going to work. So it really kind of depends on how well does the book sell. If we can order enough copies that it makes sense to sell it at a comparable price to going through the distributor, then I'm perfectly happy ordering directly from the publisher. And there are several publishers we do that with.
Mhm.
Right. So what percentage discount are you looking for if you order directly from publishers?
I would say that that's kind of the basic ballpark, is something equivalent to 50% off and free shipping. It could be
Mhm.
45% off and you pay shipping, things like that. That does not rule out the possibility of doing something lesser, especially when it is an indie book. It's something that we might know is not going to be available at all the other stores. So we sort of corner the market to some degree. We can deal with a smaller markup based on that. But that would be kind of the no-brainer answer. If we can get a 50% off free shipping, done, let's do it. Less than that, we got to look at how many copies can we realistically sell of this, and does it make sense?
Mhm. Cool.
Oh, that's cool. Now, you were saying, as far as indie books, obviously quality matters as far as what the book looks like, that sort of thing. What are you looking for as a retailer in, like, covers? Are you looking for, like, an example? Do you like more quirky styles? Do you like a more mainstream looking style? What are you looking for, or what's your preference? I should really ask.
I think that largely depends on the book. It needs to suit whatever the style of the book is more than anything else. Let's say I'll take Scotty Young as an example.
Mhm.
everybody knows Scotty Young, knows the work and everything. But if somebody didn't know Scotty's Young work, if he was a brand new creator coming on the market and an issue of Amazing Spider-Man had a Scotty Young cover on it, I think that would be a turnoff. People would be like, what is this art doing on Spider-Man that doesn't look right? It works now as a variant because people know who he is, but taking that out of the equation, I don't think it works. So something I think applies to anything else. I think the art style needs to suit whatever the book is. If the book is quirky, a quirky cover is great. If the book's not quirky, if it's, a hard-boiled detective story or something like that, quirky is probably not great. But I think it really just needs to suit the book. That would be the ideal thing for me in a cover, is give the reader an idea of what's inside here. What is the book inside going to be like, both in terms of story and the visual artworks aspect of it. They need to know what it actually is from the cover.
Okay. Out of curiosity, like, let's say if I was to approach you to, I had some project or whatever, and I wanted to get it to your clientele specifically, right? Is there any way, like, I don't know if you have a mailing list for your clientele or anything, like, could a creator like say, listen, I have a small package, maybe a PDF comic that you could give away or a preview? Is that something you'd be interested in?
Yeah, we do a newsletter, so we have a lot of subscribers that subscribe to that. Depending on exactly what it is, it could also be something we can do via social media, but we definitely have the newsletter, and that's something that would work extremely well. As long as it basically the scenario, I'm assuming we're talking about something where we get a preview, customer interested in it, then they order the book from us, and we have it in stock and so on and that kind of thing. Yeah, that would definitely be a tremendous, I think, promotional material to be able to get it right directly in front of the customers, especially as, like I said, we do so much online as well. That's really a better way to reach out as opposed to having, like, saying, an ash can or a postcard or something like that in the store that is limited to just the people who come to the counter are going to see it.
Right.
Yeah, Dan has sent out like stuff on the edge through his newsletter, and it's been very helpful.
All right, cool.
But the question I have is, you said there's a trampoline park right next near your store?
Yeah, there is.
So how often do you go over there when you take breaks and things?
I have not actually been over there. I've been over there to work with them a couple of times, and we've had like signings and things like that, and have some put up some posters for us and those kind of things. But I have not been on one of the trampolines, I'm sorry to say.
We have one of those there, and I think about always going, and then I see how much it costs. I'm like, why does it cost so much to go to the trampoline parks? It's like going to Chuck E. Cheese and then going jumping on things, and I don't think that's something that children should be doing anyway.
Probably not a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
The high cost might be attached to the insurance.
Or the cleanup.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, here's something. Is it like, what's a turnoff for you when it comes down to dealing with an indie publisher? Like, what should people avoid doing?
I think a combination of either lateness or long hiatuses are really the biggest thing. If we have gone out and put some effort into trying to build up an audience for a book, and then the book's not available for whatever extended period of time, that audience goes away and may not come back for that next issue. Obviously, with indie books, a lot of times it's not like you can necessarily come out with a brand new issue every single month, but whatever the schedule is, being able to maintain that, whether it's every other month, every 3 months, whatever it might be, I think consistency is really key. Once you break that cycle, it's hard to really get those readers back. So that would be the biggest turnoff, is breaking the cycle, whatever that cycle might be.
All right, cool. Marvin, you have a question?
So yeah, I mean, I was going to say is that most of your indie books aren't going to be a monthly title,
right?
And in most cases, I feel like I do quarterly, and it seems to work, because I don't think people kind of lose that interest in it and that. But what do you feel like if someone releases something yearly? Do you think that's a definitely cutoff point where you're like wait until you have a more build up before you release that first issue or that second issue?
Yeah, I would say at a year, I'd be looking at it as, why are we even doing a periodical on this? Why isn't it just a trade? However long it might take to get that trade out, even if it ends up being 3 or 4 years for the trade. I think that would make more sense than having a year between issues. I agree with you. Quarterly is fine as long as quarterly is maintained. If it's you have it quarterly, you have it every 3 months, but then there's a 4-month gap, and then there's a 6-month gap, and then you're back to quarterly. Some things like that can be problematic. But if it's consistently quarterly or very close to it, I think that's totally fine.
All right, cool. Something we discuss every now and again in indie comics is alternative covers or good girl, bad girl covers. I mean, do you find that those things work in the direct market?
I think it goes really back to what I was saying about, quality sells and having the cover suit the book and all that kind of thing. It works in the sense of if somebody likes it, they're going to buy it is really what it amounts to. I think a book can very easily have too many covers, especially if none of them stand out as being something really spectacular that people are just really going to gravitate towards. So I tend to think that less is more, 2 covers, maybe 3 covers versus 6 or 8 covers, that kind of thing. But really just depends on what those covers are. They certainly can sell a book, but if they're lackluster, then they're kind of a waste.
Right.
So I'm staring at your posters there. Is there a Jedi poster besides the Empire one?
Yeah, there is. I've got all 3 of the original trilogy over there. You can only see 2 of them, but all 3 of them are over there.
Awesome.
Nice.
That's it. We'll turn the camera for just a second.
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
I can't see very much, but there you go.
There you go. All right. So going back to the cover thing, because like I said, we have these debates amongst ourselves typically when it comes down to indie comics in Kickstarter, especially where we have a lot of people doing, good girl, bad girl art. We also have NSFW covers and that sort of thing. And also NSFW books, because I remember back in the day, Diamond had a separate catalog, right? Or for adult books, right? You got that little box behind the counter, right, that you pull out for those customers that like cherry pops or whatever. Do those types of books still appeal to people? Are there still people you see asking for that type of material?
They do, and there's different categories for virtually every book that's out there and every kind of cover that's out there. So there are people who like those. A couple of publishers we've ordered direct from us, Zenoscope and Coffin, which deal with some of those. So they've definitely sold for us. I think that the bad girl covers tend to be more marketable than the NSFW ones, only because, like you said, the NSFW ones we can't just have just out on the shelf. They have to be put back somewhere. People can order from us online, and that's fine. But it's much better if we can put it out on the shelf and somebody can just see it. And if they like it, then they can buy it. Whereas the NSFW, that doesn't apply to. So there are people who do buy the NSFW, but we typically only carry those as special orders because we know there's not much we can do with them outside of that once they come in.
And Justin said the cover has to be important to the story always. I don't know about that, man, because I was on Kickstarter earlier today, and I saw a book that has 80 covers and 1 page from the book on the Kickstarter.
Wow. Did you say 80? Yes. Not 18.
No.
Which is still a ridiculous number.
Yeah.
80.
Yes.
And I will clarify, when I said that the cover needs to suit the book, I'm really talking about the main cover or the only cover. Variants are kind of their own thing. And like I said, a good variant is going to sell, a bad variant's not going to sell. But I think there should always be at least 1 main cover that really tells somebody, here's what's inside. This is what you're going to get if you buy this book.
Oh, it's not a coffin comic. It's not. And it's honestly, and I don't want to say that it is because I don't want to give them any kind of prep or anything, but I'm not seeing how this person is not getting sued for what they're doing.
I've seen some of that.
Yeah. Definitely. Dan, so on the regular, here's one here on the regular. How many indie comic creators do you find yourself dealing with? You can say either monthly or annually. Like, Obviously, you're dealing with Marvin. I mean, that might be enough. But how many do you find yourself dealing with on occasion?
I mean, we hear from a lot of indie creators. I'd say every day we probably get 5 or 6 reaching out to us in one aspect or another, whether it's someone we've dealt with before and they're following up, someone deal with regularly and they're saying, hey, our latest issue's out, or somebody brand new coming along and saying, hey, I've got this book, you should check it out. So we certainly hear from a lot. In terms of actual regular dealing with, that's a bit less because the bottom line is obviously there's a wide variety of books out there, both mainstream and indie, and some are good and some are bad. That's the reality. There are literally some bad indie books out there that I'm going to look at and go, I'm sorry, I can't sell this. It's just not professional quality. That's the reality. Plenty of others that are excellent, and we do want to carry them. But there is that awkward conversation that we have to have of filtering out the ones that just aren't what we can do something with. So bottom line is, yes, we do hear from a lot. I would say that there's probably about 3 to 5 a week that are ones that we're really having a real conversation with, somebody that we're already ordering from, or we're taking a very serious look at carrying.
All right.
So you follow up on everyone who contacts you, no matter if you're going to carry it or not?
Someone does. It's not always me. Like I said, we have multiple staff that are looking at it, and I'm not able to literally respond to every message that comes in. Not just ones from creators, but with everyone. Customers and people reaching out. So that we have anywhere from about 50 to 75 support tickets a day, and I wouldn't get anything else done if I was just answering those all day long. But a higher percentage of the ones that are like that from creators are typically going to end up coming to me. Somebody always responds to every ticket that comes in, no matter what it is.
So I mean, that's good news, because I think that a lot of people in some instances feel that even though that they've reached out and they don't get any kind of feedback, it kind of doesn't help them along the way, because now they don't know if why someone wasn't interested in carrying their book. And I think it's a good idea to just do a form letter follow up saying thanks but no thanks.
Yeah, and in some cases that's really all we can do, because I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. And when a book literally is, it's poorly written, it has bad grammar, the art's amateurs, things like that, and that does happen sometimes. I don't want to tell somebody that. I don't want to say, I'm sorry, your book is just bad. I can't critique it and say, hey, if you just improve this little thing here, I might be able to do something. It's just unprofessional. That happens sometimes, and I really don't want to tell somebody that. So sometimes it does have to be a form, thanks but no thanks.
Yeah, thanks but no thanks. Okay. So I mean, that's just a word of a thought process before you send something out to a retailer to see if they want to pick up your book. Let someone else look at it first and make sure that, especially those grammar mistakes, because we've been on these for a while, and a few retailers have pointed that out, that they've gotten books with really bad grammar and it just turned them off completely.
Yeah.
So get an editor. You can't edit your own stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Show it to other people, and hopefully not just your mother. Find somebody else to look at it. They'll give you an honest opinion.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I open a Marvel and DC books and I see that stuff and I'm like, what the hell?
It happens. It does.
Yeah, I found it in trades. I found them all over the place. So like, oh, well,
And that's even strange, because that had to have gotten past 3 or 4 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have a friend who's a professional editor. He was telling me, I don't know if he was at Walden. It wasn't Walden. It was one of these big publishers in Manhattan. He said he was in there, and they were reprinting a book from the 50s, and it was like, that thick. It was a manuscript that was like this thick, and it had a bunch of Post-it notes sticking out of it. And he was like, "What is that?" And he was like, "Oh, that's the re-edit, man." He says that book's been published like 5 times. He said, "Yeah, we know."
Wow.
And so there's always stuff that you're gonna find. There's always stuff. Yeah. That's the craziest thing. Oh, here we go. And every tour book. There you go. Awesome. So Marvin, you got another one for him?
If you got something, go ahead.
Well, here's something for your fellow retailers. How do you feel they should deal? Like, what would be the best way for them to deal with indie comics that you found that works best for you?
I think the best thing is really to not be shut down to the idea, not have the mindset of my customers only like, because no matter what story you have, no matter how big, how small, you can't speak for all of your customers. Sometimes you may feel like you can, that you know them all, you see them coming in every week, but they don't have a group mind. There's going to be a variety of people out there. So my recommendation is don't be too shut down of saying, it's not Marvel, it's not DC, I can't sell it. Really try to evaluate the book on its own merits and try to figure out not just, do I have a market for this? Can I create a market for this? Is there a way that I can promote this to get my customers interested in it?
All right, cool. Marvin,
do you travel to any conventions to look at new stuff or to try to move some of the stuff in your store that's not moving?
We don't set up a convention, so no, we're not going there to move stuff. I do usually go to New York and San Diego, and that's mostly a matter of just reaching out to publishers and creators, having a little bit of FaceTime, and being able to talk about what books are coming up and what can we do to promote them, because I'm very big on promotion. So being able to make those contacts and figure out what we can do to help reach a wider audience, that's very valuable. Plus, at the big conventions where a lot of announcements get made, so that's useful too.
Cool.
Cool. Now, ever since Diamond kind of faded out, do you find
imploded is the word you should use?
What?
Imploded is the word you should use.
Well, everyone phrase it. Imploded, faded, whatever. Do you find that, all right, because here's something, right? I order my books in advance every month. And I have found that I'm buying less these days. Right. And it has a lot more to do with the fact that I just don't see the breadth of what Diamond used to offer, right? Like there was, the whole catalog, and I was one of these people who went through the whole damn catalog, and I would go through the whole thing page by page, because I'm a lunatic degenerate. But, do you find that you've maybe from your pull boxes, do you see less people ordering less?
It's definitely not the case for us. We're both a combination of bringing in more new customers and having those customers order as much or more. You are right that there is less variety available because there are some publishers that no longer are available through the main distributors, and therefore some stores are not going to be carrying them. Other stores are still carrying them through alternate sources, depends on what store you're dealing with and everything. But there is going to be a lack of that. But I think that there is still a pretty wide variety, even coming from the larger publishers, Dark Horse and IDW and things like that, that there's still a pretty wide variety of titles for customers out there, even if a store is only getting their stuff from Lunar and Penguin. So they might miss out on some small publishers that were getting before and have something else instead, but there's something to definitely pique their interest. And again, we do a lot of promotions, so making sure that what is out there, customers know about it. So there's always something to get them excited about. So certainly it would be helpful if more of those books that were only through Diamond were available even more easily through other distributors. But basically we haven't let that affect our sales yet.
Cool. Good.
So I'm looking at 2026, and I don't know if this is going to make JD happy or not. You probably want to have like 5 catalogs. Because you want to have 5 distributors, maybe 6 in 2026. What are you using, like something like Managed Comics or a tool like that for your website to pull all of that data in?
We're not using that only because we didn't really want to go with a third party where you've got some issues of, number one, if anything goes wrong with that third party, you're just shut down. You can't get your data in. And in some cases, some of those actually run the website itself. And then you have kind of a cookie cutter design of everybody using that has a website that looks the same. So we import all of that ourselves. Certainly aren't adding titles one by one. That would be a complete nightmare. Add all of those. So there's enough import processes. We're able to add them into our database without needing to use a third party. And basically, the simplified version is we take what comes from the publishers, goes into an Excel file, we edit that around to make it formatted to the way we need it, and then import that in.
Okay. That makes it a lot easier for you, so that because, like you said, that Managed Comics, Comics Hub, they all have this standard template, and they said that if their site goes down because it's cloud, of course, then you're kind of dead in the water. It's a good idea.
I think the cookie cutter aspect is really the bigger thing. Is we want to be distinctive and do our own thing, and not look like everybody else that uses the same software.
Cool. Now, do you it's funny, another Marvin said I've been self-publishing since 1992, right? So I've been so I was back there when it was 14 distributors. That's why Marvin said I would be happy that we're gonna have 6. Right. And I do remember when we did it, just I was just out of high school. The artists I was dealing with were just out of high school. And we could sell 5,000 copies of a book, 3,000 to 5,000 copies of a book, with nobody really knowing us. Like we could just put it out there in the catalogs and people order it, and it was crazy. Our big mistake was we were children, and we didn't know what we were doing. We were putting out annuals, but that was like I said, I was 19 years old. But what can I do? But I was wondering, like, have you seen any standout independent comic books coming up? Because we have Bone, Cerebus, a variety of others, but we haven't seen one as of the last few years. I mean, obviously there's stuff out of Image, but I'm talking about like real indie, like self-publisher stuff. Have you seen anyone coming up that looks like they might be building that kind of momentum?
I don't really think so, and I'm not sure if the market is in a state that can really very easily happen right now. I would love to see it happen. I hope it does, but I kind of feel like anybody who is at a level that they can really create that kind of mass appeal, even with an interesting, different type of a book, I think they're probably more likely to do it as a creator-owned thing through Image or something like that than they are to do it as an indie. So yeah, I don't really think so, but I'd love to see it happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but those books back then had the advantage of 10,000 shops in the United States too.
Right.
So that a shrinking landscape makes it harder for something to catch fire like that.
Yeah.
And as we've done these talks and with retailers, we always get the idea from them that it's hard to take a chance on something too.
Yeah, and of course you've got the bigger picture thing of there's so many new things going on. There's the streaming services and there's video games and everything else. People's attentions are pulled in a lot more different directions than they were in the 80s, the 90s, even the early 2000s. So it's difficult to get that concentration of people with the same interests to get their eyeballs on a book.
Yep. All right. Well, Dan, I know you're pressed for time, but I mean, let me tell you, man. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for for my faux pas by being a little late.
Okay.
Thank you for holding on. And I mean, one more time, let everybody know where they can find you and your work. Your stores, your websites, all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you having me. I've enjoyed it and to meet you guys, and hoping to continue carrying you guys' books as well and sharing those with customers. Those customers would be at our Tulsa store in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and then as well as that, impulsecreations.com. That's the online store. And like I said, we ship worldwide. We've been in business 27 years. So anybody who does happen to visit us online, we can make sure you are very well taken care of.
All right. Very nice. Dan, like I said, it was a pleasure. You're welcome on whenever you want to come back on, because I mean, this is a very good conversation, very, very educational. Because like I said, we're doing this because, we speak amongst ourselves about independent comic books, but sometimes we do have to speak to the retailers, the guys who are actually selling the books to find out how are we messing up, right? What are we doing wrong, right? And what could we be doing better to help you guys sell our stuff?
Yeah, I mean, just like I said about going to New York and San Diego and talking to publisher creators, it's really the same thing there. Being able to have that kind of contact where you're looking at things from one direction, I'm looking at it from another direction. Where can we meet together? I think it's very, very useful to have those conversations.
Yep, exactly. All right.
Thank you.
So, yeah. So Dan, if you wanna go, you can go because Marvin and I are going to talk for a few more minutes.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So like I said, thank you so
Sorry.
much.
Thank you
All
all very much, and I appreciate it.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
man. Have a good night. Thank
Night.
you. What's up, Marvin?
What's going on?
Cool dude.
Yeah.
Where did you meet him?
So most of the people that I'm pulling is everyone that I pulled from that that distributor. I mean that retailer group on Facebook. What is it called? I forget what it's called. But yeah, he was one of the first ones to reach out when like everything was shut down and we had product available. And he Dan reached out to me and was like, "So what do you got?" And I sent him a lot of stuff. So like we've been since 2020, we've been back and forth with stuff and everything. He's gotten everything I have. So
Oh, cool. Very nice. Very nice. So, I mean, like, how's it looking on your end? Because I know, Comicsburg, you guys, you got your little consortium rolling there. And I mean, like, how are you guys? Are you guys looking to get back into the direct market, like, through one of the distributors? Have you guys been talking? I don't know if you got through Filbo,
yeah,
Universal, Lunar.
So
and I don't even know the other two you're talking about.
Right. So we've got irons in the fires with IPG is one independent publishing group who just started doing retail. So they do have a catalog up on their website, and I'm going to tell you the other one in a second. But we've already talked with Universal. We've already talked to Lunar. I mean, we talked with Massive too, because that seems like it's going to be the kind of the end around for Lunar.
Right.
But Crown Studios is CRWN was the other one.
Crown Studios, okay.
Yeah, so they popped up the other day saying that they were looking for stuff. So, and everyone's kind of pushed us off to January, saying that they want to do things in kind of waves, and they would be back in contact with us. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, the landscape is different, and for all the faults of Diamond, they were willing to take on a lot of things they probably shouldn't have. And that like it was kind of like it was an open book in some cases. Like there was a lot of people who came after us who got turned down.
Right.
And it's kind of interesting because I don't kind of, in some instances I'm like, but I mean, is our stuff better than their guys' stuff? Was it just our pitch? Was it just my smiling face that did it? I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting thing because we know people fully who couldn't get in, so they went and did their own thing. But to and it was a different story every time. It was like, you don't have enough books, your presentation isn't good, your pitch wasn't good. And I'm like, okay, well, I mean, what did I write down on that paper that they thought was mind-blowing, that they would think that this was good?
Well, I mean, it could have been you had a 5-year plan because that's what they were asking for, right?
Yeah.
Could be you had one of those and you had it well laid out. Nice bullet points and all that stuff.
Yeah, bullet points.
Right. I mean, listen, man, it's a presentation.
And just so people know, this was in 2020. Oh, I'm sorry, 2019 when I wrote this. And I didn't use AI.
It wasn't available back then.
No AI wasn't available then. So just be careful if you're trying to write a proposal, use AI, because now everyone has AI sniffing tools.
Well, it's like anything else. Do a nice, good, firm edit.
Right.
That's it. Just do a nice, good, firm edit. Because no matter what AI writes out, I use it occasionally at work to do work-like things. But you still got to go and you still got to do a firm edit. You can't just whatever it spits out, you just can't just.
So it's kind of funny because I took what I wrote and we were going to reuse it, and I threw it into not Chat GPT because I used it at work. It's Pit GPT, and it did a summary of it, but it did it in the third person.
Okay.
But it came back. I was like, why did it write this in the third person? This is not useful to anybody.
Right. Well, I mean, maybe I thought you were writing a novel or something.
But I mean, it's going to be. I think 2026 is going to be interesting across the board for a lot of things. And like I said, is that I think that you probably have lost multiple amounts of publishers for two things. So Diamond going away,
Mm-hmm.
and then them not getting paid from Diamond.
Oh, right. Like I was saying, the lady who runs Lunar, Merkel.
Yeah.
She was saying she has some really interesting information. Like she was saying, like, you know, like they had cut off probably about 50 publishers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because she had said that they were gathering data from DCBS, right? And they were saying how if they only sold, DCBS is a big account. Like I understand. My understanding was that between them and Midtown Comics, they were like 5 or 6% of the entire comic book market, right? And that's for just 2 stores. That's huge. So if they're 3% of the market, let's just say, right? And they're saying they're only selling 1 or 2 of your books per issue, that's why they clipped those people. Because they were like, there's a cost value of us scanning in the book, having to find a place for it on the shelf, for pickers to find it, label it, and so on and so forth. So because of that, they ended up clipping so many and taking on fewer than most of the industry wants. But they only have but so much space, according to her, which I get.
So they were selling 1 or 2 copies in a single location or total?
Total. Well, we're talking about DCBS.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
So that's their comic shop. So, but I don't know how. I mean, I don't think they've ever divulged how many buyers or how many people buy from them.
Mm-hmm.
But I would be surprised if it's less than 2,000. You know what I mean? Like put in monthly orders,
right,
from them. And I mean, out of 2,000, you're only selling one. You're only getting of those 2,000. 1 or 2 people to pick up a copy from a particular publisher. They're like, as a distributor, how much more are we going to be able to get from them?
Yeah.
Right. And because there is, there's a cost to them having the book scanned in, put on shelves, put into the system, all that stuff. So that's why they ended up clipping about 50 publishers.
Yeah.
And I found that fascinating. I was like, oh, okay, well that's at least some interesting information that at least that there's a reason for it. It's not like they were just like, these things just weren't selling for them.
So they cut them from Lunar, and
well, I would imagine it's people that wanted to get into Lunar, and they were like, no.
Oh, got you. So they were looking at, were they selling? I mean, that's a weird kind of thing to do, right? Because that's direct to customer sales. That's not retail sales. Like, you're not.
Well, no, that's their retail. That's them selling retail to customers.
Right. That's what I mean. So why would, I mean, it's a little off if you say that, because we got 2,000 customers here and they only order 1 or 2 books.
Right.
That doesn't seem like that's enough data to say we're not going to do work with you. Like we could show that we sell to all these other stores. So I don't know. It's a little.
Well, true. But I'm pretty sure they could pull out data that says like, yeah, but here's this other independent publisher, like similar to you, and we're selling 40 copies.
Yeah.
Right. Out of that 2,000. You know what I mean? Like I would be interested is at what point, what's that break even point, or what's that break point? Is it 40 copies, 50 copies? Yeah. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's the sort of thing I'd be interested in. Because like right now, Ben Dunn through is selling through, was it Massive?
Yes.
Right. So if Ben and Antarctic Press were to sell enough books through Massive, through Lunar, would they be willing to just pick them up separately through Lunar?
Yeah, give them a shine up.
Right. You know, that's that's the part that I'm interested in. Can they work their way up?
Yeah.
You know, or are they going to be stuck out there in the wind like CrossGen back in the day with Diamond?
Right.
You know,
I mean, it's the landscape is so weird because it was weird because Diamond was only selling to specialty shops too.
right.
So they weren't opening up the gates for say there's a drugstore that wants to order comics or a grocery store that wants to order comics. So you're kind of like, so you've got your 3,000, 2,000 numbers of comic shops. I mean, how many mom and pop pharmacies are in the United States? It's got to be more than 2,000. How many grocery stores are in the United States? Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. So,
yeah, granted.
Yeah, why are you not kind of pushing more into that to kind of like, because like that's a stranglehold for like newsstand operators, like the newsstand distributors kind of have a stranglehold on that. And it's not hard to get in there, but in most cases for an indie, it's not worth it because of the returnability, because they can pretty much just rip the cover off and send it back to you.
They're Samedi?
Yes,
Peter Samedi.
Yeah.
You know, he was pretty honest about a lot of the stuff he went through. And I mean, like, if you listen to his stories on his channel, like you see the nightmare that dude went through. So I wouldn't, you know.
Right. So we were there with Newsstand. Like I had a contract.
Right.
And going over the contract, I'm like, we can't do this.
Right.
Not at the price that we have to sell these books at. Like, and it's just not going to work, especially if they can just say, oh, they didn't sell.
Right.
And then we have to refund them from our payout. So I mean, that's just not a good thing at all. I mean, maybe for like digest books, like those Archie size books or something like that, would kind of work more in that instance, because those are kind of put in a rack like at the checkout. So it's kind of like a impulse buy, like, oh, look at that. And you pick it up and go. And then like the idea behind the Family Dollars, dollar stores, which are no longer dollar stores anymore. So I mean, that's,
what are they, $2 stores now?
I think they're at $2.50 now.
$2.50.
Yeah, it'll be $3 next year, so they might as well just start changing the name.
They should just be like Five Below. That's it,
right? Yeah. Or 10 or less.
10 or less. There you go. That'll be it. Yeah.
So there's a market that's open for people. If people are interested in that, there are distributors to handle those stores. So, and you did have that one line, was it Final Faction through Dollar General. So it was a comic book and a toy line that was it was actually Dollar General actually bought it from the person who created it. So they had like action figures, not really good ones, like they were pretty cheap, but they were $1. And then they had a comic that came along with it. And I think they had like some kind of animated series too.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, I mean, you listen, for myself, I just say, like everything else, just stick with Kickstarter. And Magi's Grace #3 is currently on Kickstarter, so you can go check it out right now. So another 26 days. So I just started.
I found that, I saw that Kickstarter when I went on there. I was like, what is this? And I clicked on it, like, are you freaking kidding me?
What are you talking about? It's December. It's the best time in the world to do
No, not your Kickstarter. The one I was talking about before. The one where I'm like, how is this person not getting sued? I don't know. Like, it might be down there, but I'm like, oh gosh, you're kidding me right now. And it's like made $25,000. I'm like, it makes it even worse.
Yeah. Well, listen, everybody got their game, right?
Yeah.
So
and then it was like cover, and then one page. And it's like, oh, it's under production. There's this one page we'll show more later. Like, how in the hell did you get $25,000? That's with just covers.
Right. Well,
like, yeah.
Sometimes that's all it takes. If I can I got covers too. I got.
I would greatly appreciate if you made $25,000.
Yeah, So there you go, everybody. Go check it out while you can, So, but yeah, man. But Marvin, man, we've made it to an hour. So, huge guaranteed distribution. Yeah, that's true. All right. So Marvin, where can everybody find you and your work, sir?
You can find me at theedgecomic.com or comicsburg.com. All the socials are there. You can order books from both stores or choose, because all the books are in both stores. Both stores.
All right, cool. Wait, hold on.
Probably. I don't know. I don't know who the person is. Yeah. I just noticed it at the bottom of there, and I'm like, this is a lawsuit waiting to happen. I'm just going to say what it is. It's Batpool.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah. That one.
And I'm like,
yeah.
Okay, so you've got a Batman, Deadpool, amalgamation, and then you've got a Harley Quinn. And I'm like, this is a lawsuit. Why is this on here? Why is Kickstarter allowing it? Why? Like, you can look at it and see that it's just ripping off. And then I saw the other stuff they have, like, oh, okay, well, that's what they do.
Right. I mean, it's called confusion. And it's up to those publishers whether or not they want to pursue it. You know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, until those publishers pursue it, it's an open field, right? Okay. So.
Yeah, but I would think that Kickstarter would be kind of up on that, because that's a copyright strike. Like, if you were to do something like that on YouTube or something like that, you would get a strike.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, for sure. But I think they're detached enough from it that if the publishers were to contact them, they would just pull the campaign.
Yeah.
And they would just like, whoop, there you go, done. And they were like, all right, we did what we were supposed to do. So, I don't know. But anyway, thank you everybody for being here. Thank you everybody for showing up. The conversation with Dan Wallace, go check out his website. Yeah, I'm sure he runs a great store. If you're in his area, go check out his store. So thank you so much. Go check. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those different places, on the JD Calderon, DeviantArt, YouTube. Next Sunday night, we'll be back with the regular crazy crew. There'll be a bunch of us talking indie comics. Maybe Marvin will be there. Maybe he won't. We'll see. Who knows?
I'll be somewhere. Now.
That's true. He'll be somewhere. And like I said, currently Magi's Grace #3 on Kickstarter. So go check it out. And just remember, everybody, read more indie comics, especially ours. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
Good.